Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another week of At Ping. Good news for those of you who have been asking for a written version of my column to return. There's going to be something like that. We're going to continue with this video question and answer format, but I'm going to be writing a column that's just kind of free form, whatever I want to write about. So you should see that soon. Those of you who like to perhaps sit on the thinker and do some light reading, we will have some material for you soon. So stay tuned. Let's jump into our questions this week. First one comes from somebody who did not leave their name, and maybe here's why. It says, the most regrettable thing I did in my life was get frisky with my wife after handling and cutting jalapenos. Today, I did the second most regrettable thing in my life. I posted on here with an opinion. Won't make that mistake again. Pingry, I applaud you, the entire staff at Vital, and really media in general that put themselves and their opinions out there. Social media and keyboard warriors are not for the faint of heart. Best regards. I've been there on the jalapenos. Now, I've never gone as far as you did, but usually it's like a little eye rub after I've been cutting them up, and it's tough deal. I can't imagine the drama you guys had, you and your wife. So I hope that you've worked through that and there's no long-term medical consequences. Look, here's the problem with social media, and I think that Twitter is probably the worst of all of them. But certainly any place where people don't have to pay, they can get on and just spout their opinions and thoughts and whatever they want to say without any repercussions, it's going to become problematic. And, you know, as much as forums can be super cool and helpful, I've seen threads that were, you know, somebody was in need, needed some help, and everybody rallies together. That's what it's about, right? Sharing information, bench racing. But man, I don't know why it seems to devolve into just mudslinging, like a bunch of monkeys in a cage throwing poop at each other. So I don't really have advice for you there, man. You just have to have thick skin if you're going to come on and post something that maybe goes against what other people think, and you know it might. I don't know, man. I don't have advice for you. Just, I guess the best thing I've always was told is if somebody doesn't know you, then their opinion shouldn't really mean anything to you, right? Because they don't know who you are. They don't know what you're about. So that's kind of what I try to live by. It can be great though. So I encourage people, man, don't be a dick on, you know, any forum. Twitter's the worst. I actually quit it this week. I'm out. I just couldn't take it anymore. Occasionally there's good pieces of info in there. And so I tried to stay engaged, but I couldn't do it anymore. So anyway, best of luck. Rubber gloves when you're cutting jalapenos, and thick skin when you're getting on the forum. All right. Okay, next one. Dear Ping, having been both a racer and a member of the industry in different capacities, I'd like to get your thoughts on the topic of brand ambassadors. Hiring spokespersons and representatives to help market a product is nothing new. However, hiring racers to represent brands they never really competed on at a high level seems to be an emerging trend. How effective are brand ambassadors that never raced the brands they represent? For example, is Ryan Villopoto's position at Yamaha a bit odd given he spent his entire professional career consistently beating Yamahas? Is Jeremy McGrath's role at Kawasaki somewhat strange, being that he never competed at a high level on a Cowie? Does this undermine his endorsement of the product? What are your thoughts, Tony? Tony, first of all, I would say Jeremy did compete at a high level. He started his career on a Kawasaki racing Supercross, got his first win on a Kawasaki. So there is a tie there. And I will say that the terminology has shifted. Brand ambassador doesn't even really exist anymore. They're looking for influencers. So what the hell is an influencer? It's the same thing, right? It's just in this new modern era. That's the term we use for it. Both of those guys have massive social media following, massive fan following. And, you know, I don't think it matters whether or not they rode for them. Their name still carries weight. They still have a lot of value, a lot of information. You know, look at RV. He's probably been more effective with fans since he quit racing than he was during his entire career. Yeah, he won a crazy number of races, but he was so kind of miserable, especially in those last years of his career, and so focused on what he was doing, he probably didn't engage with the fans the way he would have liked to. And I think he'll admit as much. But since retiring, he's awesome. He's doing fun events. He's still racing. He's doing vintage stuff. He's all over, you know, and he's representing Yamaha at all of these different events. To me, it was a brilliant move by Yamaha and a really bad move on Kawasaki's part to let him go. Personal opinion. And I would say the same thing goes for Jeremy. I would have kept him on Yamahas. So it's interesting how those deals go down. I wish I could be a fly on the wall. I don't know any of the specifics. I'm not going to jump into it because I don't know. But, it might be insulting to you, or you feel like it's, man, Ryan Villapoto was a Kawasaki guy. This is like, this is rude of him to go to another brand. It's not rude to him, right? If he left, that means Kawasaki didn't make him a good offer to stay. And it's a business for Ryan, for these guys. They're extending their careers doing something involved in the sport they love. Who wants to be involved in that ride? And, if their current employer didn't want to take them up on it and they went somewhere else, so be it. I think at the end of the day, here's what matters the most. Whether it's Jeremy, whether it's Trey Kennard, whether it's RV, we want those guys at the races. I think that there should be way more emphasis on keeping former pros, former champions coming to the races. If that means free tickets from the promoters, that means the manufacturers are encouraging them to come out, whatever it is, man, there's a fan base that they had who are now going, well, who do I root for? And this is a way to keep them engaged, keep them involved in the sport, make them feel like, okay, I still know some of these guys in the pits, even if they're not racing. There's just a lot of value to that. And I think Yamaha's seeing that, and they're having a lot of success with RV. And I think Jeremy's doing great things for Kawasaki as well. The side-by-side racing that he's doing and development, he's helping them with testing. I mean, there's a lot of value those guys bring. So I wouldn't let it bug you. Don't get spun out on the fact that they didn't ride for that brand their whole career. They're at the races. That's all that matters, right? They're supporting our sport. So let's applaud that. Thanks for that question, Tony. I appreciate it. Last one comes from Dylan. It says, hey, Ping, love the Whiskey Throttle Show, bike reviews, and testing. My question is, why did Supercross stop holding the Monster Energy Cup or any rounds in Las Vegas? Is it a money problem, a venue problem, or something else? And do you know if they will ever hold another Monster Cup or event in Supercross event in Las Vegas? Thank you, right on, Dylan. I think that initially the issue was COVID with the Monster Energy Cup. That was, peak COVID in 2020. Every time we go into the fall, the world's ending. It's a dark winter. So it wasn't worth even trying to put it on. And again, I don't know specifically. I'm going to take my best guess here for you. I wasn't in these meetings, but it seemed like Salt Lake really wanted to open up as early as possible. They're the state of sport is their slogan and their mantra. They like sporting events. So I think that they probably put a deal together with Feld. Hey, let us host the last rounds for a while. I don't know how many years that is. They're building a new stadium in Vegas. Maybe that had something to do with it. But I got to believe that, one, the Monster Energy Cup is going to come back. It's in some way, shape, or form. There's going to be racing again in Vegas. It's too good of a venue not to. Whether that's at the new big stadium or it's just back at Sam Boyd, I don't think it matters. It's a great place to go. It's a destination, right? I think the thing to really watch here is what happens with this FIM World Supercross Championship. There's not a whole lot of chatter about this just yet. I think things are still getting put together, but this could be a seismic shift in professional racing in our sport, particularly here in the US, but obviously even worldwide, because it is going to be a World Series. When you add in the Australian rounds, New Zealand rounds, they throw in like something in Vegas, all the European rounds that go on already anyway, Bercy, Geneva, Genoa, there's probably 5 or 6 good races over there that they could add right into that series. Will you start to see now Supercross only contracts become very popular, and a guy will race US Supercross, take a little break through the summer, jump right back in the fall, and do World Supercross? It's going to give them more time off. They're focused on one discipline. It's way less travel, way less money outlay to go do it, more money, more income, revenue generated. You start to look at it on paper and it's kind of a no-brainer. And those of us who are motocross purists, obviously we don't want to see the Nationals go away, but I think this is something to really keep your eye on because there's stuff going on behind the scenes right now with that series that could have major implications in professional racing here and abroad. So stay tuned on that. I think we'll be back to Vegas Supercross one way or another, whether that's FIM or Feld. I don't know who's going to jump on it and secure the contracts first. Maybe it's both, but lots of interesting stuff coming up. So thanks for the letter. I appreciate it, Dylan. Thanks for everybody for watching. See you next week.